Hello folks, I'm here with the Lions of Burley House to see what this Nikon D40X is like in 2019.
The Nikon D40X was introduced in 2007 and increased its megapixel count over its slightly older sibling, the D40, from 6 to 10 megapixels. The sensor is in fact borrowed from the more serious amateur-aimed D80, but this model is firmly sat at the beginner end of the range, both in terms of build quality and features. I picked this one up for £24, which sounds like a bargain, but it does have an issue. This camera has a broken flash. As a mainly daytime photographer, this isn't a big deal for me, and there's always the option to use an external flash, although that makes things a little unbalanced on this tiny body. If this doesn't bother you though, then this is a steal at this price. Along with the sensor, the shutter mechanism was also taken from the D80, allowing for a continuous shooting speed of 3 frames per second. It's not going to set the world alight today, but for this point in the lineup it's perfectly acceptable. Once you're holding the camera in your hand, you soon realise that this is a tiny and compact DSLR, the smallest and lightest form factor in Nikon's range. It's a little bit plasticky, but for those stepping up from a cheap compact camera, this feels solid enough. Like the D40 before it and the D3000 series following it, this camera will only focus with lenses with their own autofocus motor, as it's lacking one built into the body of the camera. This limits lens choice a little bit, but it's not a major downside. What is a bigger downside is the camera's inability to meter with older manual Nikon glass, so the Sunny 16 rule will have to be your guide. It also only comes with 3 autofocus points. That's still 2 more than the pro level Nikon F4, but like that camera, keep this one on the center point and use a focus and recompose technique, and just don't worry about it too much. As is typical with a lot of the cameras I look at on this channel from this vintage, the D40 has a more limited ISO range compared to modern day sensors. Here the standard settings allow a sensitivity of 100 to 1600 ISO, extending up to 3200. It's always better to use the lowest possible setting you can get away with to minimize noise and maximize dynamic range. The photos here were shot as RAW files to get the most out of the camera as I could. The screen on the back of the camera takes up a good chunk of space, but as this camera is quite tiny, it turns out that this is just 2.5 inches on the diagonal and only has 230,000 pixels. But it is at least enough to know you've got the shot. Perhaps more useful is the lovely GUI showing the camera settings. As you adjust the aperture, there's a graphic on the screen explaining what's happening mechanically. The screen is also put to good use in combination with the info button. Nikon has done a good job here providing the newbie with helpful information at the touch of a button whilst you're learning how to use the camera to its fullest. So is the Nikon D40X a usable camera today? If you can get on with the camera's size and limitations, it's certainly still capable of producing photos for A3 prints, and this one with the price tag of under £30 was definitely good value for money. I'd take this over the Nikon D40 any day. Thank you for watching my video, and I shall see you next time.